My 37 female brother Mike is an idiot. Always has been and always will be. He's been babied to the point of uselessness by our mum and dad, and that's made him an entitled slob. When he was younger, he showed promise in playing rugby, which made my mum and dad believe he would be a superstar. The problem was that he never had the work ethic to fully fulfill his potential. However, this meant that he was the golden boy of the family, and he could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. He was a bully at school, which they brushed off as other kids making up lies, but he was an even bigger bully at home to our younger sister Kelly, 31. He would constantly prank her. He would do anything he could to embarrass her, including things like pulling up her dress in front of the whole family at a wedding when she was 15. Mum and Dad just said it was siblings being siblings, but the rest of the family were mortified by his behaviour. I tried to stick up for my sister and it worked to a certain extent, but after I went away to university there wasn't much I could do, as Mum and Dad just didn't listen to anyone. It got so bad that when she was 18, my sister gave up going to her dream university, St Andrews, and instead moved to London to go to Imperial College London. This was a huge shock to all of us, as she'd been talking about St Andrews since she started high school at 11. When I asked why, she said that St Andrews was too close to home and she would be expected to go back home more often, but if she went to London she would only have to go home for Christmas. This broke my heart. After she left, she did exactly that. She was only home for Christmas and when I got married. This annoyed Mum and Dad, as they said she was abandoning the family. I kept my mouth shut and just let them whine occasionally, as I didn't want an argument. After graduating from university, my parents expected her to move back home, but she didn't. She got a job working in southern England and stayed down there. We are from Scotland for reference. 6 years ago, Kelly met a great guy, Jake, 30. The day she met him, she called me, gushing about him, and I've honestly never heard her speak about anyone the way she does him. I've met him several times when I've gone down to visit Kelly, and he's great. Good looking, funny, great job, his family is lovely, and most importantly, he treats Kelly like she hung the moon. It's very cute. After she met him, she cut down how much she came home even more, as she spent the first Christmas with his family, and then the pandemic happened, so she ended up not coming home for 3 years. Her first Christmas home, Mike started his usual bullcrap, trying to be the centre of attention. When it didn't work out as well as he wanted, as most of the family were more interested in getting to know Jake, he tried to prank Kelly. He got a big bowl of water and was going to pour it over her. Jake saw what was happening and stepped in front of Kelly, telling Mike not to even think about it. Side note, Jake is 6'3" and has been doing martial arts since he was 4, so he can be very intimidating when needed. Mum and Dad tried to play it off as a harmless prank, but Jake was having none of it. Mike started whining about it just being a prank, and Jake told him that if he pranked Kelly one more time, he would prank Jake by putting his foot up his butt and his fist down his throat. Kelly and Jake left about an hour later, but after that, Mike, Mum and Dad all had an issue with Jake. Kelly hasn't been home since. That leads us to now. Kelly and Jake are getting married. They sent out invites in February for August. However, they didn't invite Mike. Mum and Dad are obviously incensed by this and had a huge argument with Kelly. They threatened not to go and Kelly said, no problem, she would get Grandad to walk her down the aisle. I went around to their house on Saturday with my kids. Immediately my mum started complaining about Kelly and the wedding. I sat and listened for a while before I'd had enough. I asked her what she actually expected. She and Dad have allowed Mike to be the golden child and get away with everything. Because of that, he can't keep a relationship. He thinks everyone should do everything for him and can't hold down a job because every job is beneath him, and he's still living at home with zero prospects in life. The man-child is a bully whom I don't trust to be around my children unsupervised. He bullied Kelly for most of her teen years, and her only escape was to move over 400 miles away and never come home. My mom got very quiet and then asked me to leave. A few hours later my dad called, going mad because I'd upset my mum and was taking the side of an ungrateful little girl instead of my parents who gave me everything. This started a huge argument between me and him, where I told him he'd been a crap dad to Kelly and didn't deserve to walk her down the aisle. I've just had enough, but now I've got extended family members telling me I've gone too far, as my mum is barely speaking to anyone and keeps crying. My granddad said it was about time I told them off, but my grandma is upset by all the arguing. So, am I the idiot for telling my parents that they sucked as parents and deserve to be kicked out of my sister's wedding? My sister isn't changing her mind. They aren't going to the wedding no matter what. She only invited them as she thought it was the right thing to do in the first place. So Grandad will walk her down the aisle no matter what. Not the idiot. If they can't stand the truth, they need to hibernate. Your sister clearly picked a great husband to be, though. Maybe you should join his family for future celebrations and leave those three to their own devices. Does your mom think Mike will take care of them in their old age? Because I'm sure you and Kelly won't. Tell Kelly to hire security, as parents and Mike may try to crash the wedding. This fighting is happening because OP's parents refuse to parent their son. It's on them. You can't expect the victim of a bully to invite their bully to the wedding. It's time to thoroughly air the dirty laundry. And if you can, go no contact with your parents and keep in regular contact with Kelly. If possible, it's probably also a good thing to avoid any social media posts about the bachelorette party, rehearsal dinner, etc. Mike sounds like the kind of guy to call and mess with the venues. OP, your mom's tears are her own doing. She ignores her daughter being treated like crap for years, and then instead of owning it, she tries to play the whole, woe is me, I'm crying so you can't possibly be upset with me. It's actually pathetic, and your sister is better off far away from your family. Please join her, and also get away from the toxicity. My wife, 30, and I, 33 male, could finally enjoy a night out together, something we rarely get to do. We grabbed dinner, shared a few drinks, and overall had a great time. Since we live just a short walk from the restaurant in a generally safe, upper-middle-class neighbourhood, we decided to take the scenic route home through a park. We thought it would be a nice way to end the evening. That's when everything took a turn. Two men approached us out of nowhere. They claimed to have guns, though we didn't see them clearly, and started demanding our wallets and phones. Completely caught us off guard and terrified, we complied without resistance. But it didn't stop there. One of them barked at us to take off your stuff. At this point, I was in full panic mode. What was I supposed to do? Go full action hero and get us both shot? Trying to keep things from escalating, I removed my shirt and gave them what they wanted. My wife, though hesitant, followed suit. We were left standing in our underwear by the time they ran off. Eventually, we flagged down a passing car, got help calling the police, and filed a report. The officer who responded barely seemed interested. We're not hopeful anything will come from it. The next day, my wife shut down emotionally. I figured she needed space to process, but today she finally snapped, furious that I didn't stand up for her. She said I just gave in and didn't even try to protect her dignity. We got into a pretty heated argument about it. But I genuinely don't know what else she expected me to do. There were two of them, they were armed, or at least convincing enough, and we were outnumbered and unarmed. Yes, we lost some things, but we weren't hurt. We cancelled the cards quickly and filed a police report. Isn't walking away unharmed the best possible outcome in a situation like that? So here am I wondering, am I the idiot for prioritising our safety over putting on some act of bravery? Phones can be deactivated and replaced. Credit, debit cards can be deactivated and replaced. The money is gone, but what's worth more, money or life? You can always earn more money, but you can't earn your life back. Not the idiot at all. You prioritise life over pride, and that's what matters most. Unless you have Chuck Norris's skill and confidence, you did absolutely fine. It sucks to be robbed, but it's not worth dying for. It seems to me that she was looking for a, please you don't have to take my wife's clothes. I think she was looking to be spared a bit of the humiliation of stripping down to underwear. You should not have fought back in any way, and I wouldn't hold you accountable for not defending her dignity and asking to let her keep her clothes. The stakes feel higher once you're asked to remove clothing as a woman. Just adding insight into what she may be feeling. This was a traumatic experience, and you may need joint and separate therapy sessions to work through that together. Years ago, my mom and dad were on vacation in Rome, Italy. They went out for a meal one night, close enough to the hotel to walk. When walking back, a mugger held out a knife and demanded money. My dad stepped forward and just said, "No, stab me." The guy got angry, brandished his knife a bit, then ran off. Mom went crazy on him and told this story for years, how Dad nearly got them both killed in Italy by being an idiot. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, I guess. My friend is getting married this weekend and I'm in her bridal party. She asked a month ago in our group chat who could stay the night before at her place, which I originally agreed to. This is to ensure the morning goes smoothly for hair and makeup. I'm also involved in my country's military. I told her from the time she asked me to be in her party 2 years ago that my participation would depend on deployments. I received word last week that I'm to be deployed for between 6 months and 2.5 years away from home. My family cannot come, and my spouse will only be able to visit on the occasional weekend. I cannot visit home for at least 6 months. I leave a week after the wedding. Last night I asked her when I would be needed if I didn't spend the night. She told me at 6 a.m. that she couldn't make one more change and that she needed me there the night before. I hadn't told her about my deployment, but I did then so that she would understand why I was changing my mind. I have some back issues and cannot head to deployment with a sore back from sleeping on the floor or the couch. I also don't want to miss one of my remaining few nights with my family. I also wake up every morning at 5 a.m. for a run, so I'm not worried about accidentally sleeping in. She then began to cry and tell me about other issues she was having, such as last-minute dropouts of family. I believe it was a bit of a straw that broke the camel's back situation. I told her I would figure it out, and we left it at that. Today, I called the maid of honor, who's a mutual friend, and told her the whole situation because I hoped she could help my friend understand why I don't want to give up one of my last remaining nights with my family. She spoke to the bride and called me back. The bride has now given me an ultimatum. Either I arrive the night before and give no mention to my issues and support her wholly and without question, or I step down from being in the bridal party and attend as a guest. I'm frustrated as I am willing to support her on her big day and I've told her so, but not the night before. This has also highlighted to me an imbalance in our friendship over the past few years, in which I feel I give a lot more. I'm now debating even attending the wedding. Not attending would most likely lead to losing the whole friendship. Attending the night before will lead to resentment on my part and I'll be keeping her at length in the future. I do not have an outfit to attend as a guest and have already gone over my budget for my bridesmaid dress. I don't want to act rashly and I'm wondering if my request to come over in the morning is really that unreasonable. Am I the idiot for not attending? How on earth can you be fit for deployment if a single night spent sleeping on a couch would give you back issues for more than a week? Anyway, why can't you just arrive at her place the night before a little later in the evening? Spend time with your family and then head over there. I think she's being overly dramatic and insisting that you arrive the night before instead of showing up at 6 a.m, but I also think you're being overly dramatic and not just being with one of your good friends for the night. Feel like everyone's the idiot here. Forget this, not the idiot. If I'm being deployed for 2.5 years, I'm spending every night with my husband. You get the day of your wedding and not another minute. It's not dramatic in this situation of a military deployment. I will admit, OP, the backstory sounds like an excuse. However, I 100% support spending as much time as you can with your spouse. In the bride's defense, OP originally agreed to stay the night a month ago and is now flaking out 3 days before. It's reasonable for the bride to be skeptical of OP's ability to stick to their word and actually show up when they say they will. The bride doesn't want the headache of corralling people in the morning and dealing with "I'm running X minutes behind" messages. It's reasonable to say either show up at the time you're already committed to or simply enjoy the ceremony as a guest, because those are the two options that don't add stress to the woman hosting the wedding. You are the idiot. OP, your stepping out of the wedding will not ruin your friendship. The ultimatum will do that. First, because she's being a brat by demanding this of you, who are about to leave your family for an extended period. But you also said that even if you go, you'll resent her for the time lost with your family. She did that by demanding you be there for non-essentials when you've already promised her the day in question. Your not being there will be sad, but is not an actual problem. Not the idiot in the slightest, not even close. Update, I read through everyone's comments and decided that, as ridiculous as it seems, my friend is willing to throw away years of friendship over this. I would just wait until my family went to bed, then leave for her place, as I want to support her. Something I didn't mention is that I, the 5 other bridesmaids and the maid of honor were all asked to spend the night. We were originally asked, so I felt that arriving in the morning, originally an option, would be fine. Another thing to mention is that the rehearsal is on yet a different day, so in my calendar there are 3 different days for this wedding, thus I'm budgeting what hours I can. I went through the maid of honor because the bride had her phone completely off. I tried and couldn't reach out to her. The maid of honor only got hold of the bride through the groom. That's why I haven't spoken to the bride directly today. Anyway, as I mentioned, I decided to just swallow my frustrations and attend the night before. I messaged the maid of honor my decision, and then, in checking the bridal party group chat, I saw the bride had removed me from the group an hour before. No word to me, just removed me from the group, not giving me a chance to accept her ultimatum. So now I'm just going as a guest? I don't even know if I'm still invited. I'm miffed that my friend of multiple years doesn't respect me enough to talk to me directly about all of this. My wife and I have 3 boys, 39, 38, 24, and a nearly adult daughter. Our sons adore her. Well, most of them do. Our middle son doesn't like her much. He has a nearly adult son as well. A few weeks ago was my grandson's birthday. My oldest was too tired from work and chose not to attend, though his wife attended and brought a gift. My youngest son also decided not to attend because he simply dislikes being around too many teens. My middle son seemed very upset. Then, a few days ago was my daughter's birthday, and my oldest and youngest, who adore her, decided to spoil her a little bit. They showered her with gifts. My middle son looked very angry and snapped at them and called us all jerks for favouring my daughter. I told him that my daughter is their sister, but his son is not. They are not and will never be the same to his brothers, and he needs to get over it and stop acting entitled. He called me an idiot and left the party. Am I the idiot for calling my son's behaviour entitled? Not the idiot. It's probably a reflection of the relationship between the sons rather than the relationship with the nephew or their sister. I suspect he's always harboured resentment against her because of the time you should have been spoiling your brand new grandson, you had a baby. No matter how he was feeling, he shouldn't have acted like a child and thrown a tantrum at your daughter's birthday party. Wait, why are we suspecting the son of having resentment and not OP not being okay with their son having a child at a fairly young age? Which is now still reflected in the way they act towards their son and grandson. Your middle child was overlooked both in childhood and parenthood. You are the idiot. Agreed. You speak very differently about your daughter and your grandson. It seems to be accepted that the daughter is doted on and the boy is an afterthought. What I read from your text is that the daughter is the baby of the family who has to be spoiled by everyone. The boy is just there, and if he's sad that the family uses excuses to not even attend his birthday, he's entitled. Good luck with that family dynamic. I don't want to be the middle son here.